atop Mount Manitoba that overlooks the home of the Winnipeg Jets, who will probably be eliminated by the time we're done this. Yeah, it's not looking good. It's the Hall of Fame show with your host, Kirk Buchner, owner, operator of NotHallOfFame.com, the Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame, the Fictitious Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, along with my co-host, who also co-owns all this other stuff. But we want Evan Nolan, but we're saving the best for last. It's the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Vote now, www.nothalloffame.com/USA. And if you're like us, you're probably watching a lot of basketball, hockey playoffs, and it's sort of time to bet on that. Evan and I made a little wager, and it's going to look fairly decent. I think you got a pretty good shot here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My teams need to close out inferior teams at home in Game 5.
Yes,
that's what I got to say.
Well, this is true. But the wager was for a beer. It'd be the best tasting beer that Evan will probably have, because Evan always beats me in bets and I will owe him a lot of beer. But this one is particular, his Celtics and his Bruins, if they win the whole thing, if they win, and I have everybody else. So maybe you can make a bet like that, but if you're going to do that, there's a great way to sort of do that. So if you're watching sports like Evan and I do, and obviously you are because you're watching this show, you see things for bets all the time. Bet. But you don't necessarily want to go with what just DraftKings will say or what Bet365 will say. Somebody might have better odds. So how do you sort of find that all in one stop? Well, you do that through our fine friends over at BetStamp. So if you put in something where let's say it's the Bruins, and maybe there's a parlay for the Bruins and the Celtics to win the whole thing. I'm sure there is. So who's paying out the most? They're not always the same. So you can you can check that out. Just download the BetStamp app right now on your phone. It's lickety split, super easy, and we got a promo code for you. It just helps out our show a little bit. It's Buck25, Buck because the official name of the show is the Buck Stops Here, and 25 because maybe you'll win a Buck25. Just sounds better than a Buck50. Although I am 50, maybe it should have been a Buck50. Well, it's Buck25. Let's not get it confused. Next time.
Who comes up with these anyway? Is it our marketing department? Is it their marketing department? Who decides what the code is?
It'd be our one-man marketing department of yours truly.
Okay.
When they said, "What do you want for your promo code?" and I said, "Buck25." So that would
make sense.
That would be me. I think in the future I will go Buck50. Okay.
It's good to be the person in charge of it and then question your own decision months later. So
yeah, I'm sure the fine people at Bud Light are wondering the same thing. Ooh, in terms of marketing.
Yeah, I think they're doing fine.
I'm sure they're doing just fine. But that's a conversation for another day. Today's conversation, we're going to open up with franchise Hall of Fames. And there's some good and bad to this here. You can say good, bad, and ugly, because that's how we always close with Evan's good, bad, and ugly. But it's the Pittsburgh Pirates Hall of Fame. The good is that they have one. The bad is that they waited so long to do one. And the ugly is that one person who they just announced for that has just died. Today. So, but let's...
coming attractions for my downer section that always comes second in the show.
Yes. So the Pirates, despite being well over 100 years old, waited until last year for when they came up with their own franchise Hall of Fame. Some criticize it because they included Negro League players. You and I actually sort of embrace that because all those players involved were members of the Pittsburgh Alleghenies or the various. Was it the Alleghenies? I apologize. I'm not as familiar with the Negro Leagues as I should.
I'll double check that we were talking. Keep going.
But I'm pretty sure that all of those people. Well, I know for sure they were all playing in Pittsburgh at some point. I just can't remember the name of the teams because I know there was more than one. So when they finally did that last year, they inducted pretty much everyone who was.
Sorry, it was the Pittsburgh Crawfords and the Homestead Grays were there.
Okay, all right. So the Alleghenies. Okay, I know where I got this. The Alleghenies are what the Pirates used to be called.
That makes sense. Yeah. So okay. I mean, I thought it was the Homestead Grays, and I didn't want to make the mistake. So the Grays, of course, Cool Papa Bell, Josh Gibson, Buck Leonard. Those sorts of guys, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, so I mean, like for most rational people, they didn't care. It was a nice, touching tribute, I thought. But they were probably 50 years behind when they should have started. Which tells me that of this one idea I've been floating around which of course you're going to be part of it because you're the chair committee on all of these things, where we're going to retroactively do Hall of Fames for each franchise. And we'll just sort of like do that as just a small blue ribbon committee, and then we'll put it out on our respective Twitters. And just to with the premise that each franchise started at 25 years after they incorporated.
Okay. Cool. And electing like 1 or 2 players a year?
We'll come up with a blanket rule once we sort of investigate that a little bit further. Anyone listening and you have some ideas, shoot them over. This is just something I just sort of came up with in my head a couple days ago.
This is the first time hearing of it, guys, so legitimately.
Yes. And while it's not always Bud Light, I do drink a lot, so I don't remember a lot of the things I do.
Makes sense.
Yes. But the Pirates did come up with their second class, and it's a very good quadruplet?
Quadruplet, yeah.
That's a very good foursome.
A tetret, if you will.
Oh, there you go. Tetret. That sounds like a Star Trek episode. So the four new members. I know we're kind of cutting into the Death March later, but I mean, I think that's.
Don't worry. I mean, we could take it. We could go talk about Dick Rote now. So
okay, well let's open up because with that because Dick Rote is one of the four members, former MVP, member of the 1960 World Championship team, World Series winning team, won the batting title that year. Obviously, he belongs.
2-time World Series champ, 8-time All-Star at shortstop.
Right.
So also one of the great 2 sports athletes in American history.
Yeah. He was so good he could play. Was it basketball, I believe?
He played basketball as well. Yeah.
Yeah. When he was at Duke. Like
really, he was a point guard. He was a UPI Player of the Year in 1952. Played for the Fort Wayne Pistons in 52 and 53. So,
well, safe to say it worked out well for Grote.
And his numbers retired at Duke. So,
in both sports.
In basketball.
In just basketball. Okay. Yeah. So things worked out well for him, but he just passed away the day that we're recording this. He was 92. So. I think he was the only one out of these four who's alive. No, that's not true. There's another person who's alive.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Dick Grote's a very, very good choice.
Absolutely.
Marginal on the I won't say marginal on the Hall of Fame, but like
he's the outside on my list. He's in like the 200s or something.
Yeah.
So he's somebody who actually the worst players in the Hall of Fame than Dick Grote, frankly.
Yeah, I mean he's got 2,100 career hits. Career 286 batter, 39 homers, 707 RBI, which isn't a ton for 15 years in the league.
But he was an infielder, right? So
he was an infielder. Well, he was not only an infielder, he was a shortstop. Back when shortstops were just supposed to be fielding and not hitting home runs. This is pre A-Rod, Jeter, Nomar, which was honestly a seismic shift in the way we see that position. So.
Well, that's a really good transition to another player who you can't tell the story about of relief pitching without talking about Elroy Face. So like one of the first exclusive relievers, another member of the championship team of 1960, had a season where he went 18-1. That's pretty good.
Unless you're the Patriots, but yeah, it's pretty good.
I wasn't even.
I can't hear 18-1 without thinking the Patriots. Just like every time it's March 28th, I have to make fun of Atlanta. So,
yeah, I knew you were going to go there because like there's only like one other sort of numbers. It sort of pissed me off as Saints fans when there were some people getting what was it 38-3 jerseys. Like we didn't beat them. Like what are you doing, guys? Like that's just petty. That's just petty crap. No, we would have beat them, which we can't really play them in the Super Bowl. Well, you can in an NFC Championship, I suppose, which won't happen this year. But anyway, excellent one. 3-time saves leader, finished 4 times in games finished, 6-time All-Star. Granted, that was also in an era when the All-Star was used twice in a year. So realistically 3-time All-Star, but nevertheless, I'm very happy with this selection. Also ranked on the Not Hall of Fame baseball list, as is Bob Friend. Another member of the 1960 World Series winning team, starter for All-Star games, led the league in ERA in 1955, and 191 wins for Pittsburgh. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
And the other one, who I don't know if he's still broadcasting with them, but you can't think of accounting relievers without thinking of Kent Tekulve and Tom Henke.
Yeah, the only pitchers in Major League history that I'm pretty sure wearing bifocals.
Yeah, well, they look like they're going to do your taxes.
They 100% do.
Yeah. But Tekulve was also a World Series champion. His with 1979, and that one with that championship, 158 saves, 470 games finished. They're going to do this in a pregame ceremony on August 26th, and sadly, Grote will not be there. I didn't see what he passed away from. Did you, by chance?
We'll see if I can find it.
Obviously, I'm sure they were hoping he was there. Maybe they did not know.
Yeah, I mean, he was. I mean, Grote was 92 years old.
Yeah.
So, complications from a stroke he had the previous week.
Okay, so when they made that announcement, it wasn't.
Yeah, he may not have even known about it. So
yeah. Well, either way, congratulations to I guess Kent Tekulve and the families of the other three members. And Pittsburgh, you came way late to the table, but at least you came to the table.
Just by the way, Tekulve still leads the National League in most relief innings pitched in his career. Yeah, 1,436.2 innings. And he's second all-time in appearances at 1050 in the history of the National League.
That'd be pretty hard to beat.
14,000 innings for a reliever is not going to happen.
No. I think so many pitching records are beyond ever coming again. Like, who just got their 200th win? Was it Kershaw?
I think it was Kershaw.
Yeah, I mean, that should be celebrated as if it's a 300, because those are, or 250. Those aren't happening anymore. Never.
I mean, is DeGrom going to get to 100 before he gets in the Hall of Fame? I mean, yeah, the win is just a weird thing, because DeGrom, if he played for a team that had any offense most of his career, would have legitimately 30 to 40 more wins at this point.
If they changed it mathematically, and I'm sure someone's already done this, to win shares for pitchers.
They should.
And loss shares, I suppose.
Yeah, but I mean, win shares overall.
Yeah. There you go, baseball reference. I don't have time to figure that out, nor do I have the math skills to do it. I'm the guy who can't figure out Excel. So, and I use it every damn day.
Yeah.
But enough about my comments.
And incels and XLs, not sure what's the date. What constitutes a date?
Okay, let's just back up 1 second. Evan is not implying that I'm an incel. I'm happily married.
No. I was just making sure. I was joking about the idea that no one knows how to use Excel. I actually have a spreadsheet. I imported a whole bunch of stuff, and it changed a whole bunch of scores from like 2-1 became February 1st. I had to go back through and go through them all and change.
I don't know what the hell I did. You have to show that to me.
Right. So that's the joke, that both incels and Excel are never quite sure what's the date.
Well, I believe, as Rob Schneider's daughter said, incels and Excels, they haunt me. No, okay. All right. That was here even for me. Moving on, we have a big announcement from our fictitious halls. Because all the fictitious athletes and rock and roll stars they were scared of COVID. They didn't want to come out. So we finally have our ceremony for the 2022 class.
All
right. Are we ready?
We are. So we're starting with the athletes?
Yeah, we're going to start off with the athletes. So moving in. So inducted, we have 3 new inductees to that. One, I find this a little bit early, but I mean, he's the son of an inductee. He's part of the great franchise. He was trained by the inaugural inductee. The Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame would like to welcome Adonis Creed.
Aren't you supposed to go bam, 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 bam? Or is that all we could? That's probably all I could do without getting sued. So I'll say that.
Okay. Well, we can just go bam, and then we're safe. But yes, so
There we go.
congratulations to him. We
Yeah.
have a cartoon.
Is there anyone left from the Rocky franchise at this point?
Nobody worthwhile.
Yeah, because we have Adrian and Mickey in, right?
Adrian's in, Mickey's in, Polly's not in.
Oh, Polly's not. We gotta work on Polly, guys. Polly's next.
Yeah.
So,
But that's pretty much it. Thunder Lips, you can also vote for Hulk Hogan before he sort of like
that's stretching it a little bit even for me. So
it was his finest role.
That's true.
It was all the way May Mortabito moment.
True.
Yes. We also have an anthropomorphic car. Lightning McQueen has now entered the Fictitious Athlete Hall of Fame.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes. And that's of special note to our fine webmaster, Mr. Theodore Hildebrandt, because when I first came up with this idea, I said, where's this movie? Because, that's the thing when you don't have kids, you're not really on tune with the Pixel universe. The Pixel?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Pixar.
But yeah, Pixel's that shit movie with Adam Sandler. It's amazing how you can say shit movie with Adam Sandler and like 13 ideas come into your head.
Yeah, but that's one that, well, it's not even the only animated one. I was about to say the only animated one, but I did go see, I paid good money to sit in a theater and watch 8 Crazy Nights in the theater at one point. So
I never saw that. Any good?
It was a movie.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. And also now finally getting in is the Ram, Randy the Ram Robinson.
Yeah, this one was massively overdue.
Yeah. So we do include pro wrestlers, even though we know that it's not a sport, but it's still, for all intents and purposes, a sport movie. We think so. We have another Academy Award-winning performance in. So congratulations to Randy the Ram, who may not have lived to see this day, because that ending was kind of ambiguous, wasn't it?
Yeah, right up there with the end of Sopranos.
Oh, well, hold on. I did this wrong. It's not Randy the Ram. I got all this.
This is what I see on the sheet here.
You know what? Great. I have to
go back
it now.
Yeah.
I'm not really good at that.
I wasn't sure whether it was wrong there or wrong.
No, Adonis Creed is right. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at my wrong Excel thing. I blame Excel. It haunts me. Lightning McQueen is not inducted. Ram was not inducted. They came in.
So let's just go our second induction and pick up here.
Our second induction is all the way Kung Fu Fighting. And it was so exciting. It is Bruce Lee from Enter the Dragon. And if you're thinking, wait a minute, he didn't do anything. Yeah, he was in a tournament, which I guess he won.
A dragon entered and Lee was there.
There you go. So Lee is there. And Ricky Bobby. So Will Ferrell is in. So, okay, it was a car thing. All right, and I'll apologize. I'm not editing anything. I can't be bothered.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, if you're not first, you're last, my friend. So
right. So that is what we have there. So congratulations to those three. Yes, Winnie. Hi. Winnie the Mini Dashend is here too. Yes.
So just going back, if we're not editing this out, guys, Randy the Ram Robinson is the biggest problem not in this hall at the moment. Just so you guys know. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. Well, so now we're going to go with the contributors. I'm looking at the right sheet now, so that's not going to be an issue. Inducted is a sports film about something that really happened, although other than the fact that the Jamaicans were in the Olympics, nothing else in that film was accurate. There was no.
Sanka Coffee is one of my best friends.
Yes, well, yes, they were not named Sanka Coffee, Yul Brenner, Dries Manick, and I forget what the other guy is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
it really doesn't matter. But Irv Blitzer, played by John Candy, you don't really think of him as somebody who would be in any kind of athletic film, but he is their coach. Now, there wasn't really an American coach who cheated in the 1960 Olympics, but nevertheless, you all love Irv Blitzer because you all love John Candy, because even when he's in bad stuff, it's okay. It's John Candy. Agreed?
John Candy is, I hope that the younger generations, I worry that all of his movies have kind of gotten lost just because of time and everything else. Go back and watch as many of his movies as possible. Uncle Buck is still one of my absolute favorite films of all time. Like just plane, trains, and automobiles. I mean, just
He was great in
everything.
Stripes.
Great in Stripes. Yep.
Mhm.
And yeah, I have no problem with Earth Blitzer getting in here. So I know whatever about the facts of the movie. Don't let facts get in the way of a
But
good
if it
story.
was factual, it wouldn't be here.
That is true. That's true. So
And John Kreese, if it was for Cobra Kai, he wouldn't be here. So now we
that is,
pretty much got the three, actually the four big characters from that whole franchise are now in.
that is true.
I don't know who writes Cobra Kai, but whoever they are, again, they got to be into professional wrestling because I've never seen so many face heel turns in my life. So congratulations. Into the senior category, we have Frank Capua, portrayed by Paul Newman. So Paul Newman is an inductee again for the second time.
Yep. After his role in
Color Money
Slapshot.
and Fast City. And Slapshot,
Yeah.
three-time inductees.
Yeah. Reggie Dunlop. I couldn't remember his character's name.
Yeah, because I was just going right back to Pool to that movie. So Paul Newman is now a three-time inductee for his work. That's very impressive, isn't it, Winnie?
Very impressive. Although, still would like to point out that his wife beat him to the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The little known fact: Joanne Woodward got the first star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So
But the first star?
the single first star ever presented was Joanne Woodward.
Did you learn that when you were studying for Jeopardy?
I don't know where I picked that up, but
Okay.
that is a fact. I could go look it up now, but I am sure that is a fact. So
Okay. That's interesting. All right. Well, so now we've got for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we've got three inductees. So John C. Reilly did not make it as Cal Naughton. He was a finalist this year, but Dewey Cox is. So congratulations to Dewey Cox. I got to watch that movie.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Well, I haven't gotten over there yet. Give me a second, so I can have everything in front of me. All right, Fictitious. Oh man. All right, keep talking. Talk about Dewey Cox and Walking Hard.
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. So congratulations to Dewey Cox. Finally, this is taking a little bit longer than I thought it would. Jack Black is in for the School of Rock, and I guess this
is the only. Yeah, I was gonna say this is the only movie on here that has its own series of buildings around the country. So
there you go. So well earned. And,
we have a School of Rock right here in Schaumburg.
It's based off the whole film.
Yep, they have them all over the country where kids go in and learn to play instruments, and then they perform live at like local festivals and stuff.
All right, and we're going to have this is very interesting because we now have another inductee that's going to be twice. So the B Sharps have finally gotten in. Remember, they won a Grammy by beating out Dexy's Midnight Runners, and it was the best new artist of rock and folk. I can't remember exactly what it is. So yes,
I think that was right. Yeah, cool. Homer's in twice.
Homer's in twice. And so, yes, congratulations to them who should have been there way ahead of Bleeding Gums Murphy. I don't know what you people were thinking.
Bleeding Gums Murphy is a very popular Springfield resident. So,
all right, and we have three new contributors. Okay, I think because it's Christopher Walken, this is why this happened. Bruce Dickinson, that this only existed for 6 minutes, if that. But he had a fever, and he needed more cowbell. He's in. Gene Frankel's not yet, by the way. So figure that one out, kids.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody remembers Gene Frankel in that thing. It's Bruce Dickinson all the way, baby. He's got a fever, and I mean, that may legitimately be, when all is said and done, the thing he's remembered for most in his entire career. That one sketch.
That could very well be true. And that's the same guy who also did the Colonel Angus sketch.
Yes, and Colonel Angus is one of the most fantastic sketches in the history of Saturday Night Live. So
Can't say I've watched that show in a long time, but I have to go back and see the one where
I
Travis.
I actually, the only thing I watch every single week, I watch the replay of Weekend Update, because those two guys are amazing.
Yeah, maybe I can always do that. So congratulations. Homer is in twice in the same year. That's a
Crazy.
first.
That's
Colonel,
crazy.
and Colonel Homer Simpson. He managed Lurleen Lumpkin once. That character was only ever seen, I believe, only one other time since. But you all love old Simpsons. Although I bet, like probably Evan and I, you can't name one episode in the last 10 years.
Yeah, Treehouse of Horror 38.
I stand corrected. Actually, I said the same thing to somebody, and they actually came up with the same answer. Well, I did see the last Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. 38 is actually probably high, so that's probably an upcoming episode. So, or maybe not. How many seasons have been on the air? 1990, right?
32, 33.
That'll be 33. So, all right. So I was off. 28 then. So
I don't know. I mean, I could go back on the Disney thing and just watch it all, but I don't really feel like it. You know what I've been watching while I've been doing work in the background? Love Boat episodes.
Oh, nice.
No, I mean, like, I would have fired Gopher immediately. And actually, they all would have been fired. I mean, you're not supposed to be allowed to fraternize with all these guests.
You know what movie I'm watching actually on my own now, picking up because I missed it, is White Lotus. Speaking of fraternizing with the guests, so that's a pretty good show so far.
All right, no, we veered off, but we have another bona fide legend here who got in, Cab Calloway as Curtis in the original Blues Brothers. Great choice, guys. I'm very, very happy that he is in. He was just missed out last time, so it's Blues Brothers. It's got to be there. Actually, John Candy's character was a finalist last time too. That was weird. I didn't really see that, but
that's true. Yeah, but Curtis is the right call. Curtis is 100% the right call from this movie.
Absolutely. So congratulations to all of them. Sorry I didn't wear a tux, but I don't own one.
Fair enough. I do own one, but I don't fit in it. So there we go.
Too big or too small?
Oh, it is too small. I am too big. Okay. I've actually lost almost 6 pounds the last 2 weeks. So thank you, food poisoning, which is why we didn't film last week. So
6 pounds. You basically lost a Winnie.
Yeah, hi Winnie. I have a dog too, but he's not allowed back here at the moment. So
okay,
we have a new member of our family. So
what did the name? What was the name you settled on?
Online his name is Grumps. He is a part pit bull, part a Dutch shepherd, which wasn't even something I knew. It's like a German shepherd, only instead of like black and tan, it's it's brindle colored. So he's like brown and brindled all over.
So half of the paws have wooden shoes.
Yes, that's true. I wish he walks way too soft. I wish he had shoes so I knew where he was. He's about 50 pounds and not allowed on our bed because my wife's allergies, at least for now. So that's why I'm here in the back room. So he's not here yet, but one of these times when I'm downstairs, I'll bring him on for everybody. So he's a very good boy.
This one's not always a good girl, are you, Lulu?
Well, she might be if she was an only child, so you never know.
That's very true. That's very true. You can follow her adventures on Jasper_the Friendly Corgi, because they share an Instagram. The Corgi.
So, all right, should we go to my my death march here?
Yeah, so we lost quite a few people. I guess we sort of did one already in Grote.
Yeah, we did. We'll get to everybody else here. It's a couple weeks here, so I'm gonna just fly through a few of them. There are a few I would like to talk about, but we did lose one person each of the last 2 weeks to the Beige Mistress. Last week it was Lazar Lovas, who competed in the hammer throw and won the bronze medal in the '68 Summer Olympics. And then this week it was long distance runner Erno Beres, or Beresh, I don't even know, who competed in the 52 Summer Olympics, but he was 94, so maybe, could have been natural causes, but that's really how the Beach business works. She gets the ones you're not expecting. So, from the world of basketball, we lost a couple of folks. One of the great college coaches I had never heard of, Bill Thomas, coached at Southwest Missouri State, passed away at the age of 91. He won 8 MIAA regular season championships and was the Division II Coach of the Year in 74. Also won 2 NAIA national championships as a player back in 52 and 53. But someone who, the College Basketball Hall of Fame does a pretty good job with these smaller conferences. He kind of seems like someone who got a little bit left behind, except for the fact they didn't play as many games back then, and he only has 260 wins, or 265. So, but still very good coach, lots of championships. Passed away at the age of 91. Also from basketball, we lost the oldest. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one here. We lost Willie McCarter. Excuse me. So he was his numbers retired at Drake University. Number 15, 2-time All MVC, played for the Lakers and Trailblazers from 69 to 72. He passed away at the age of 76. I was going to say the oldest living U.S. Olympic medalist passed away at the age of 101. Herb Douglas, not that Herb Douglas, the other Herb Douglas, passed away at the age of 101. He won a bronze medal in the long jump in the 1948 London Games. Still going on from winning the medal in 48, which is a long time ago. We lost there was another basketball player. I knew it. I had it out of order. We lost probably the greatest one of the greatest players at Kansas State University, Ernie Barrett, whose number 22 jerseys retired, passed away at the age of 93. He led Kansas State to their last national championship appearance back in 1951. Then was drafted by the Celtics in the first round of the 51 draft. So he passed away at the age of 93. We lost Olympian James Melcher, who passed away at the age of 83. Was a fencer in the 72 Olympics. Also then, after leaving, ran a hedge fund for a whole bunch of years. So he was 83. Canadian curling legend, I suppose, Matt Baldwin, passed away at the age of 96. Won multiple McDonald Breyer gold medals, which apparently is your curling championship. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of what it was called.
So at 54, 57, and 58, he was a skip of all those teams. So he passed away at the age of 96.
Well, people who like curling like it a lot.
That is true. I enjoy curling. It was fantastic for me. We used to wake up and go to the National Curling Center in Laurel, Maryland. Paid $20. You got 3 hours of curling, breakfast, and a Molson Blue label. At like 11 o'clock in the morning. Labatt Blue. Excuse me, Labatt Blue. At like 11 o'clock in the morning. It was fantastic. We also lost tennis player Elena Pampilova, who competed with Bulgaria and then also for Germany. Passed away at only the age of 50. She won 13 career singles titles. I don't know if you remember her at all.
Name rings a bell, but I couldn't picture her.
Yeah, she was 88 to 2001. I was really big into tennis from like 1989 through 93. I have like, just to show you that before Excel, I was doing Excel. I have sheets of like all the major tennis tournaments, who defeated who, with like charts that I wrote out by hand.
I didn't know you were that big into tennis.
When I was a kid, yeah, I wanted to be Michael Chang in like 1991. My thing was I got to every ball. That was like my goal, just to get to everything. Nobody hit the ball by me. But yeah, so Elena Pamplova was only 50. It doesn't say what she passed from. Alpine skier Jeremy Nobis passed away at the age of 52. I guess bigger than anything, he passed away in a jail cell at the age of 52. He had been arrested multiple times for driving under the influence. They didn't say what he died of, although I'm expecting that he passed away of suicide in the jail cell in Utah. So one of those people who was on the U.S. ski team when I was I was 15 when he was at the Olympics. So I knew who he was. I was skiing, everything like that. Just a guy who was really, really talented and then really troubled after he left the sport.
When you were a kid?
I'm sorry?
Did you ski a lot when you were a kid?
Yeah, I grew up ski racing.
Oh.
I was on a team for 10 years.
I knew about the soccer. I didn't know about your downhill exploits.
Yeah, I was not good. I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't good. So we usually had like 60 people in our division between the mountains in northern New Hampshire. There's a northern league and the southern league in New Hampshire, by the way. So Bodie Miller skied at Cannon, which was the closest mountain to mine, which is Bretton Woods. But they're south of the notch. They're in the southern league. We're in the northern league. But there are like 60 kids in our group. I usually finish somewhere between like 15th and 30th.
Okay.
So I was like the top half, but only the top 10 people get points for your team. So I never got any points, but I didn't embarrass anybody either. So that's pretty much my ski career.
Here's something else you didn't know about me. I was actually in a few skiing competitions myself.
Really? I did not know that.
Cross country though.
Oh, interesting. That seems like a lot of work.
It was something that my parents we would do that on the weekends, and then we were in a ski club and whatnot. So like my dad would do something, and they weren't like, they were just like amateur competitions, but I did a couple, with my dad, and I didn't do well in those categories, but I didn't embarrass myself either, if that makes any sense, because I got to be half decent in my early teens.
Cool. We already covered Dick Groat. Also for baseball, we lost Dave Frost. Pitched with the White Sox, Angels, and Royals from 77 to 82. What was it? He was. Why did I bring him up? This was from last week. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. There's something cool he did. I can't remember. Oh, they had like one of those cherry-picked stats. This is what it was. Over the course of his career, they gave a whole list of all-stars who batted a combined 103 against him. And then he held Ripken, Reggie Jackson, Robin Yount to 3 for 18 in his career, 167. It's just like one of those random, okay, so they had 18 at-bats. This means nothing. Yeah. So, but it was really funny that was in his thing. But anyway. From football, Mark Arneson, the linebacker for the Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals, passed away at the age of 73. Played for them from 72 to 80, so in St. Louis the whole time. Defensive end Chris Smith, who has one of the saddest stories in the history of sports, honestly, passed away at the age of 31. His wife had passed away in an accident 18 months ago, and then he just passed away separately. It looks like suicide at the age of 31. Also Bob Berry, the pro football quarterback for the Vikings and Falcons, Pro Bowler in 69, first team All-American in 64. He passed away at the age of 81. And then one I want to spend a little bit of time on while we're in football here. Hall of Famer Dave Wilcox passed away. This happened last week. He passed away at the age of 80. 2000 inductee into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, because I've watched every induction ceremony, I think that was the first one I remember watching. And I remember Wilcox getting up because he played for some real bad 49ers teams back before the 49ers were any good. And he talked about some of the most impressive games he was in. And one of my favorite was the one where Jim Marshall ran the wrong way. And he said in his speech, he's like, "Well, I know how bad we are. two of my teammates tried to tackle him before he got to the end zone. He also said that he when he got excited because he was on the defense of Gale Sayers' greatest game in his career, that one he had like 6 touchdowns and however many yards. And he said he was excited he got into the Hall of Fame because he met Gale Sayers this morning, and that was the closest he'd ever been to him in his life. So Dave Wilcox, funny guy, heck of a football player, played for the Niners from 64 to 74, passed away at the age of 80.
Yeah, and their franchise Hall of Fame, I believe his number's retired by that team too.
That I didn't see, but it's
I could be off on that, but it's Wilcox is an interesting figure that even got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, considering that he's a forgotten legend, I think, among non-49ers fans. Because like you said, the 49ers really didn't become anything until the early 80s.
Yeah.
So if you were a fan of the Niners back in that decade period that he was playing for, chances are if you bought a jersey, you had Wilcox on it. Because it really wasn't that much else.
Yeah. I did miss one other. We had 1963 All-Star catcher Don Leppert passed away at the age of 91. Okay. Everyone else we have is music, except for a couple others. Otis Redding III, Otis Redding's son, passed away at the age of 59 from cancer. He's in the Reddings, which is a band that covered a lot of his dad's stuff and had their own sort of things.
Yeah.
Mark Stewart, the English singer, member of the pop group, and also had his own stuff, pioneer pop, punk, and industrial hip hop, passed away at the age of 62. From the Dazz Band, Isaac Wiley Jr., the drummer, passed away at the age of 69. Do you remember the Dazz Band?
I do.
Yeah, like singable jazz is the best way I could call them. Probably.
Yeah, that sounds better than anything I can come up with on the top.
I mean, the born name is a portmanteau of danceable jazz. That's where they got Dazz from. But they were big in like say 77 through 83, 84. Had several hits, in particular in the R&B. I think their biggest hit was Keep It Live in 1982, which went to #1 on the R&B charts and went gold. But he passed away at the age of 69. Billy the Kid Emerson passed away at the age of 97. Recorded for Sun, Chess, and VJ. Rock and roll singer, became preacher, best known from the 1955 song Red Hot. You remember that one from back in the day?
Probably if I heard it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But he was 97. Ahmad Jamal, one of the absolute great jazz pianists, passed away at the age of 92. Another of those people who's played with everybody. Yeah. But also one of the first people to join the Muslim faith back in the 60s. But he passed away complications from prostate cancer at the age of 92. Also, country music artist Keith Gaddis wrote Little Drops of My Heart, which hit the charts in 2002, passed away in a tractor accident at the age of 52.
What as country as it gets, huh?
That is, yeah. That's as country as you get. April Stevens also passed away, best known for her version of Cole Porter's I'm in Love Again. Passed away at the age of 93. That came out, I'm in Love Again. She also is the one who sang Deep Purple, which she won a Grammy Award, and is the song that Deep Purple got their name from. But she was 93 years old. Moonbin, from one of the members of the South Korean boy group Astro, passed away at only the age of 25.
What did he die from?
That's a good question. He passed away. They're investigating the death, but there are no signs of foul play. It appears he took his own life. So, 25 years old. Also Kid Jordan, another one of those guys who played everything, saxophone player, passed away at the age of 87. And then we had some other big names just to go through before we get to the biggest name of all. Barry Humphries, Dame Edna, Average, Dame Edna.
Oh.
Yeah, Dame Edna passed away at the age of 89.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, the Australian comedian, actor, and satirist. I mean, I feel like Dame Edna was known throughout the English-speaking world. So
they did a few specials in the U.S. I know that because correct me if I'm wrong. It was huge in Australia. Australia, or is it England?
Yeah, huge Australia, huge in Britain.
Huge in Britain, and then they tried to see if they could do some couple things in the American market. And I think I saw bits and pieces of that, and that's when Mel Gibson sort of showed up, and Dame Edna just sort of blew him off. And that was Lethal Weapon era Mel Gibson, not anti-Semitic Mel Gibson. They're probably the same person, but we only knew about
They're
one.
probably the same person, but yeah, we didn't know it yet.
We didn't know.
Yeah, so Barry Humphries, Dame Edna was 89. By the way, do you know Dame Edna's last name?
Average?
Average, that's right. Correct. Impressive. Okay. Someone near and dear to my wife, Len Goodman, passed, one of the main judge for Dancing with the Stars and Strictly Come Dancing, kind of the guy who founded the whole thing. He only retired last spring from Dancing with the Stars during the last session, but he died of pancreatic cancer at the age of, I'm sorry, was it pancreatic? It was bone cancer, excuse me. I'm mixing up my causes of death here. So he was 78. Never really got to enjoy his retirement. He was just tired of flying back and forth between London and LA, which is a 70-year-old man. I get. Also, a man who I actually got to see speak once live and was very impressed with, died of prostate cancer, Jerry Springer. Passed away at the age of 79. I have to say, he came to American University and spoke. And part of like, I've said this before, the greatest thing American University has is, at one point, I don't know if it still is, was the largest budgeted, entirely student-run organization in the country, the Kennedy Political Union, which is a speakers thing. When I was there, I believe the budget was like $7.1 million they could use to get speakers. So I got to see Lech Walesa, Nelson Mandela, the Dalai Lama, like
and Jerry Springer,
among others. And Oliver Stone was the single most boring man I've ever heard talk in my entire life. I can't believe he stayed awake through the whole thing. But Jerry Springer was up there and was eloquent, and people challenged him on, why are you putting this trash on TV? And just about it's like, who the hell are you to judge who gets to go on television? Who made you the police? Why is television only for the people you necessarily want to see? I was like, that's a very interesting. It's a democratization of everything. Also, once the mayor of Cincinnati, which nobody remembers.
Well, because nobody else can name any other mayor of Cincinnati unless you're in Cincinnati.
That's true. If you're mayor of Chicago, you're probably in jail, but that's okay. Jerry Springer.
I thought Chicago didn't put anybody in jail.
It's only governors that we put in jail.
Okay.
If you're a former governor of Illinois and you are in a room with 5 other former governors of Illinois, there's a 50% chance it's a jail cell. So, last one here, the big one that we need to talk about, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee last year, I think surprising to a lot of us, but we're all like, oh no, that's a really good choice. Harry Belafonte.
Yeah. I read or it was tweeted, I assume this is true, the oldest living Hall of Famer. So it made me wonder if, because he passed at 96, so it had to make me wonder if, other than the first ceremony, was that the only time where somebody got inducted and they were the oldest living person inductee? I don't know, but
I mean, maybe if you get past like year 5, there might be like contemporaries, from those first groups. But I bet it's probably the last oldest living one of those for at least 20 years.
It would have to be, I would think.
Wow, I didn't realize it was the oldest living one.
Yeah, I saw something to that effect today, so which probably makes sense. Very iconic figure, way
100%.
more important in bridging the gap of Caribbean music to the mainstream. I think we all know that, but it's not something that we necessarily all talk about, if that
Hmm.
makes any sense. It's one of those
Yeah.
known realities, but it's just not something that you think about. I grew up with him more understanding him as an actor, actually.
Yeah. Or his involvement in the civil rights movement, which was a big
Mhm.
part of it as well.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple of my fraternity brothers, Mike Panetta and Mike Wiles. Mike Panetta actually was the senator for Washington D.C. for quite a while, so he got to go to Congress and didn't get to vote, which I always said it made me seem like he was always in an eighth grade class, just traveling to go see how things worked. Um, but Mike Panetta tells a story of back in like I think it's '97. The two of them were flying a red eye from D.C. back to New York, and they get to the baggage carousel, and Harry Belafonte is there waiting for his bag. And they went up to Mr. Belafonte and they said, "I'm sorry, I know it's late. I'm sorry, I know it's like real early in the morning. Would you mind if you took a picture with us?" He goes, "I always have time to take a picture with my friends." And I had the picture of it. And he said, from then on, Mike always referred to him as my friend Harry Belafonte. So he posted that picture on Facebook and talked about how he was going to miss his friend.
Mhm.
Yeah, Belafonte is. If you had to put like the 100 most important cultural people of the 20th century, I think Belafonte is on that list. There are not that many of those folks left.
Yeah, I could see a case being made for that. I've never even thought of that particular, but yeah, okay.
I mean, he's not top, 25, but he may be down in the 70s or 80s, but I think there are not that many of those folks left. And he was one of them.
And
So
coincidentally, it was the first time that Justin Trudeau put on blackface is when he sang Deo.
that is correct. I was wondering if we were going to get through the session without it, and the answer is we were not.
No, but I didn't. But I've been keep my promise. I didn't tweet about it.
You did not. Good for
I did
you.
not.
So,
I did not. I
and with that up, let's go to some elevators.
Okay. Well, that's elevator up, elevator down.
Elevator up, elevator down.
Ding, where we look at who's had a good week, or in this case, 2 weeks for their Hall of Fame chances, and who didn't. So I've got two people, and one in the world of music. I just decided last minute that I'm going to add this individual. Coachella's headliner was a disaster. That's Frank Ocean. Frank Ocean has clearly going through something, and it's been a
Yeah.
while since he's put out any kind of new music. There's something going on in that man's head. Does he, if he never puts out anything, which is possible, does he have enough now to get in? And the reality is probably not.
Mm.
And when you bomb, when you mess up this badly, that becomes one of your, as I like to call it, an obituary moment.
Yeah.
So he's got an elevator down for the Rock Hall because I clearly there's a lot more wrong than we thought with him, which is unfortunate. And hopefully he's able to fight whatever is going on.
Yeah. And hopefully he gets a redemption arc. It'd be fantastic if he did. I mean, he's still got time to get there. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm not going to go into all the sort of things with that. My other elevator down is pretty much everyone else on the Milwaukee Bucks who's not Giannis. So not that I was really thinking that Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Brooke Lopez were going to get in the Hall of Fame anyway, but these are three men who, if you compile titles, could
mm.
possibly.
Yeah. If all of a sudden if all of a sudden you're three-time NBA champion Chris Middleton,
Mhm.
because I think Middleton has the best chance of those three guys.
Based on what's left of their careers, yes. Lopez had the best year he's had in 6 years. He was doesn't get enough credit for that, but at the end of the day, they got taken down by turning the hands of time Jimmy Butler, who, if he keeps this up, will be another elevator up for me.
I was gonna say he's 100% an elevator up for me. I thought you might go there.
I was thinking about it, but first round.
My opinion is Jimmy Butler went just in this series. If they don't beat the Knicks at all, Jimmy Butler has gone from a probably will get into the Hall of Fame to a borderline first ballot, I think.
And I was ready to not write him off, but because he did not have a Butler-esque first half of the season, missed out on the All-Star, and there wasn't a lot of people saying that he should have, that it was a snub. He got better as the year went on. This first round was incredible, and I was thinking about using him as an elevator up, but I thought I was going to wait, see what happens in the second round, but we might talk about him again.
Yeah, we always talk about him next week. I'm just telling you, for me, that's where I feel what happened with him the last week. I will say one of those other ideas we talked about years ago, we haven't gone anywhere with, which is the postseason Hall of Fame.
We'll get there.
This 100% put him in the postseason Hall of Fame stuff. He's not at Robert Horry level, but do you want to face Jimmy Butler at any point in the playoffs at this point?
Not right now.
No. I mean, he would get that game 4. He was exhausted after the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
He was exhausted. He was lying on the court and still pulled them through. I mean, just transcendent. A transcendent performance in the playoffs.
And it's another series that they should be able to win.
The Knicks? Yeah. I don't know who's more excited about that series, the Knicks or the Heat. I think the Knicks are a real serious contender to get to the NBA Finals. I'm not going to say it's going to depend who they're facing on their end, but the Knicks team matches up very well with both the Sixers and the Celtics.
Let's say they do.
If they get through I'd much rather see I know they're out now, but as a Celtics fan coming in, I'd much rather have seen the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Final than the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Final. I was hoping the Cavs were going to take him out.
Mm-hmm.
So that team is a very difficult matchup for both the Sixers and the Celtics. So, but God knows I don't want to see the Zombie Heat. I have no interest in seeing the Zombie Heat. So, I mean if we learn one other thing, I think another elevator up in that whole group is Eric Spoelstra, who was already I think a Hall of Fame coach, but just goes to show you how competent coaching makes a difference.
And somebody else on my Twitter feed was just saying, "Oh, this is the most underappreciated coach ever." I would agree with her.
Yeah, Spoelstra is the reason that the Heat have been as relevant for so long when they not necessarily should have been. Is Spoelstra. Coach Spo, I would trade the Celtics head coach for him, and I'd probably trade a player and the Celtics head coach for him in a second. Probably a couple draft picks. How high up do I have to go?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, Horford needs to retire to South Florida, right? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I mean, you want Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard.
Where's Taco Fall? Is he still there?
No, he's in Orlando.
No, I don't know.
Bol and Taco Fall, I think, are both in Orlando. Right
Bol isn't bad.
That's true. So
Taco
was in Indiana, but I think he ended up in Orlando. I don't know. I've lost track of Taco.
I know this much: he did not receive a single cup point. Which is sort of why I asked, where is this guy? Because I
understood.
I don't know. So with that, I think the Bucks are a good segue, because I know you're going to be talking about that a little bit for your weekly good, bad, and ugly of sports.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just gonna say what happened with the Bucks is bad. You don't want to overreact to one playoff series, right? But I think we've hit the high watermark with this team. Mm-hmm. They don't have any of their own draft picks. ESPN, or there's a Ringer. The Ringer had their list earlier this season of teams that were most all in on this championship in terms of how much they had invested in assets and money and everything else. And the Bucks were number 3 on that list. They have almost no draft picks. They are going to be in the repeater tax for the luxury tax coming up here, meaning they're probably going to have to get rid of someone like Pat Connaughton, someone of those middle salary guys, not like a superstar, one of their top 5 guys.
Nice
one of those role players who they actually need for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Ingles, somebody like that, and they also have to go in order to get them under, so they're not paying massive bills. Middleton can opt out. He has a player option and get 40.4 million next year, which he may take, but he's also 30, I think 30, 31. I can't remember if he's 30.
Isn't he younger than Holiday?
Yeah, Holiday's 32. Yeah, he's younger.
And Lopez is 35.
And Lopez is 35. I think he's 30 now. He'll be 31 before next season. This may be his last chance for a bigger payday. It's a big difference between big 30 going on 31 and 31 going on 32
Huge.
in the minds of. So if he opts out, what they have to re-sign him, how much they're signing him for, there's just a lot of problems. Now, any team that's Giannis is always going to be competitive, but I don't know how they rebuild on the fly with what they got as assets at the moment. Although the Lakers did this year, so who knows, right? And those 5 second-round draft picks that they traded for Jay Crowder to be a Celtic stopper didn't work out. Couldn't happen to a nicer player. So I do not miss Jay Crowder. So yeah, I just think they're in a world of hurt right now. They're the oldest team in the league. They were 28.9, I believe, and in the playoffs they're almost 30 because they didn't play any of the young guys, which is always what happens in the playoffs. And they're just capped out, and they don't have any draft picks. So we'll see where they go, but I think this is, again, any team in the Giannis is super dangerous. Giannis also, by the way, after next summer, can opt out if he wants of his contract and re-up again. So I don't think Giannis is a different sort of superstar. He'll be happy staying in Miami, or not Miami, in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. Miami, Milwaukee. I hear the climate's the same.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's the type of guy who'd be happy staying in one city. But he's 26 now, going on 27, right? You got to get him. You got to maximize these next 3 years, and I don't know how they do it. That's why it's bad. More than just, hey, they lost. They're the 6th number 1 seed to lose, and they're the first number 1 seed to lose in 5
That's
games.
your kindest bad in a long time.
Yeah, I just they are worthy competitors. And I love the Celtics are just a tough matchup for them. They beat us once out of 3 times this year, and that one game, neither Brown nor Tatum played. All our backups played, and we took them to overtime with all their entire team. Well, Middleton wasn't there, but the rest of their team was there. And Drew Holiday had to have basically the game of his life in order to drag them through that. We're a good matchup for them. But yeah, I just it's hard to hate Milwaukee. You know what I mean? It's just hard to hate the Bucks.
The city.
They're the city and the team, either way. A smaller, if Sacramento has a run for 5 years and they win 1 championship and they don't quite get anywhere, is anyone ever outside of maybe Golden State gonna be able to work up any anger towards Sacramento, doing well for a while?
No, you're right. Giannis and Milwaukee are one player, one team. That doesn't inspire hate. Hate, does it? I mean,
unless there's someone who just really hated Sidney Moncrief and has been holding a grudge, what are we even talking about? Screw that Jack Sigma. I don't even know what you do. So I'm just sad that they're in that situation, which is weird again, coming from a team that has to beat them and stuff. Mm-hmm. But Giannis deserves better, and I just don't think that. I don't see the. And again, they led the league in with their record this year, but I don't see the path forward for them long term. Is what I'm coming down to. So
sounds good. Ugly. Or do you
ugly? Let's do good, and then we'll get to ugly. Okay. Good. Celtics finally closed down a freaking game. So one of my teams is through, so the bet is still alive. So we have one going through. I've been worried about whether this is going to be ugly or good the whole time here.
You made
Although I
a
have
bet with me. I think I already cemented it for you.
well, I mean, the Bruins lost that last game in one of the dumbest ways I've ever seen possible. So who knows? But the Celtics have eliminated the Hawks. We're now going up against, God, I'm knocking on wood, but the team that we own in the Sixers. If the Bruins get through, and we get the Maple Leafs again up against the team that we own, which is probably
nobody will be cheering harder for the Bruins against the Maple Leafs than me. Bet aside.
Sure.
I was at the bar the other day. I said something maybe I shouldn't have said, but I'll repeat it here. I would cheer for the Taliban over the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Wow. How are they at hockey?
Damn it! I didn't think you were going to ask me that. I should have had a joke ready.
And do they have someone on their team whose name is the equivalent of Sanka Coffee? It's the real question.
That they definitely do not have, and they're not big on diversity.
Makes sense. So anyway, so that's my good. Finally, it was tough for me to see how this all went. Although the Leafs lost tonight, where's that put that series at?
That puts Toronto up 3-2.
3-2. So they did the same thing that the Bruins did, which was lose their game 5 at home.
Yeah, I got the. I don't even know what's going on in
the game. It's still going. It's in the second period. That's all I'll say. So
tell me. I mean, like it's
they have a round number on the scoreboard.
Oh, they still have a 0. Okay.
Yes.
And
the other team has a has the perfect number on the scoreboard. So
10?
4. 4 is the perfect number.
Why is 4 the perfect number?
So this is one of those riddles that you go through. Like, give me any number.
12.
12 is 6, and 6 is 3, and 3 is 5, and 5 is 4, and 4 is the perfect number. Give me another number.
0.
See, 0 is 4, and 4 is the perfect number. So it's
I don't get it.
4 is the only number in the English language that is worth the same number as the number of letters in its name.
Oh.
So it's one of those riddles as a kid. So when you said 12, 12 is 6 letters, 6 is 3 letters, 3 is 5 letters, 5 is 4 letters, and 4 is the perfect number. So it's one of those things as a kid that we always did. So
okay,
because we were nerds.
Oh no, I was the nerd. I couldn't even sit at that table doing riddles. But anyway.
So yeah. So that's what's going on with you. So let's get to the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very melancholy ugly. Again, I'm feeling bad for somebody. In 2015, the Golden State Warriors had a championship parade through the streets of Oakland, California. Since then, the Warriors have moved across the bay to the hated city of San Francisco, the city of San Francisco, or it says the city on their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders have moved to Las Vegas. The Raiders should just be like, they should be the itinerant Raiders. They never stay anywhere for long. But the Raiders have moved. Yeah, the Raiders have moved twice out of Oakland, LA, back to Oakland, then over to Vegas. And now it appears that the Oakland Athletics, the itinerant Athletics, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Oakland, are now moving to Vegas as well, much to the annoyance of Mark Davis. And Oakland went from a 3-sports team town to none. They also at one point had an NHL hockey team, the Golden Seals. California Golden Seals used to play there as well. So they've had all 4 sports abandon them at this point, but the last 3 over the last 5 years.
You know, and as much as I'm not huge on the concept of making cities sort of pay for a stadium, that stadium, I don't think it's an inaccurate use of the word shithole.
Shitholes can get plunged every once in a while.
Literally. It's a colossal dump. I think if you're a fan of the Oakland A's, you knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. We knew this was coming for a long, long time. There's no point in even sort of like investing anything to buy a ticket to go.
I didn't even know you had to pay for tickets. It just seemed like, I mean, it'd be worth it to the team to let everyone in for free just for the concessions.
That might not be a bad idea. They'd probably make that's actually a very good idea. No wonder you're much smarter than I am.
I mean, just let local school kids in, or like, I don't know. I mean, they have games where they have what, 2,000 fans allegedly.
It did well when the Mets were there because I was looking at their attendance, and well for them was like 5 digits, so low tens.
Yeah, I mean, just let local people in and use that to sell products.
Well, maybe they'll just stay though. Once they come in there, they might just stay there.
Then you can sell more products.
Feral people. No, what if they're just feral people?
People are people, so why should it be you and I should get along so awfully? No. So no, but it's just again, say what you want about any of this stuff. Like, they went from 3 teams to nothing in legitimately the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that 2015 was a long time ago. Trump hadn't even been elected yet, and that seems like that was forever ago. Yeah, I know. Just by the way, as an American citizen, I'm not going to say anything political about this other than I can't wait for Biden Trump too.
And my second language is sarcasm. I picked up on that completely.
Oh God.
No, well, as I've told you, I've emotionally divested myself, and it's been the best thing that I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier on this side of the border. I'll leave it at that.
I can imagine. So, but yeah, it's just ugly. It's sad.
It is sad. I think, especially for people who've lived in Oakland all their life, people who are committed to that city, and I know that city's struggling in many, many ways. So it is sort of sad to see that happen, especially a team that at one point was the most exciting team in baseball. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that the late 80s,
at multiple points. In the early 70s, they were the most exciting team in baseball.
Well, I'm just going in my lifetime because I remember that very, very well. The Bash Brothers and everything going there, and like there was piles of Oakland fans, like even when I was in Canada because of that. Now, I mean, they did the dumbest thing they could do. Billy Beane comes up with this great idea, and then writes a book about it.
Yeah.
So that everyone could do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Were they 5-20 as the day started today?
I haven't even looked.
Yeah, because I think it's something really, really, really bad. If I can throw another bad in there, if you don't mind, just to close off with that. The fans of in Tampa Bay, in our little baseball chat group, someone had mentioned.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so it was like
I lurk in our baseball chat more than actually participate. So.
Oh, me too. But it was 11. They commented that it was 11,000 people for the hottest team, the best team in baseball against the defending champions. If you would have told me that when the Lightning came to existence in Tampa Bay, that within 30 years, hockey would overtake baseball in Tampa Bay, I would have said you're a lunatic.
Tampa is undoubtedly a hockey city. Like they support that team incredibly well, and that team has rewarded them.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know her name, but the person who sings the anthem, that's my favorite singer in sports.
For Tampa?
It's Tampa Bay Lightning, because I always use the same national singer. I forget who she is, but
I'm just getting it right now.
Yeah.
Sonia Bryson Kirksey.
Okay, sounds right.
So U.S. Air Force veteran.
That's yeah. What makes me like her even more.
Yeah. So Yeah, I can't honestly say I've heard her. So
No, we always stand up for the anthems here.
understood. I just hope that no offense to her, I hope that her opportunity to sing the anthem for the year comes to an end soon.
I'm
I'd
sure
much,
she
ra-
will not take that personally.
I'd much rather not face their goaltender than face their goaltender.
You won't be offended if I say the opposite.
Fair enough.
Again, I think I've already established who I would cheer for over the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not exactly great people.
That is
Leaving
true.
it at that, we ask you again, vote for the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Your votes will count. This is pure democracy. Most votes will decide that. www.notinhalloffame.com/USA. We're going to be doing a lot more promotion on that in the upcoming weeks, so look for that. Promote a few other things. I've got a book out. Check that out. Chavo Guerrero, Instant Classic. It's available on Amazon, where I wrote about the late, great Chavo Guerrero. There's going to be some more stuff coming up on How the Hell Did This Go #1, which we're going to have our final episode of that because we're going to be changing it to How the Hell Was This a Hit? Actually,
okay, you've gone through enough number ones at this point.
It's my partner's fault. They keep picking good songs. The whole point was picking bad songs. So I've made a sort of a chairman's decision, let's say. Actually, I'm planning it for it to be a big extravaganza. I don't know, maybe if you can join us for that. We're going to look at all the #1s from Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, nice. Can I go for when you get your first #2? I have a choice. So
What's that?
One that peaked at here's the trivia question for you. It is the longest song title of a song ever to peak at #2.
You said this before, and I couldn't guess it then, and I blanked on what it is now. Just tell me. I don't remember.
One hit wonder from the primitive radio gods, standing outside a broken phone booth with money in my hand.
Yeah.
The song that you legitimately never hear on the radio anymore.
No, you really don't. But yeah, so that's going to be next Tuesday night. I don't know if you can join for that. I'm trying to line up some other guests for that. I'm hoping it'll be
Tuesdays are a challenge just because of karate.
No.
So
you can kung fu fight late.
I don't kung fu fight. I karatate. I don't
know. And here's some other interesting show related notes. Vinny Lospinuso, our good friend who does Vinny Makes the Hall of Fame case for, the last one he put up was about Max Zlotowski. Max's son saw it and reached out to him.
Nice.
Thank you. So there you go.
And he has changed his Twitter bio. He is officially a Hall of Fame voter for the state of Pennsylvania, correct?
That he is, yes. Yeah. So
so the state of Pennsylvania has a Hall of Fame for sports, and one of the people who votes is Vinny Lospinuso. So good for you, Vinny.
Well, he put in the work. He put in a lot of work.
Has a goal, has put in the work, earned it. He didn't get this because he knows somebody.
No.
Or if he does know somebody, if he does know somebody, it's because he worked to meet that person, not the other way around.
Exactly. Yeah. So congratulations, Stephen. Well deserved, and we couldn't be more proud of you if you were our own. And you're kind of old enough to even young enough to be Evans.
Come on, don't make me feel any older than I am. Here, you want to hear the fact? I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I think it was LHD on Sports.
Okay.
What is the oldest ballpark in the NL is Wrigley, built in 1914.
Okay.
Opened 1914. Second oldest is Chavez Ravine, which opened in 1961. What's the third oldest NL ballpark? And try not to crumble into dust when you figure out the answer to this.
New York's got a new one.
I didn't believe it, and I had to fact check it.
Where the Rays play?
No, NL.
Oh, okay. Riverfront?
No, that's been replaced.
Oh, I don't know.
Coors Field.
Wow.
Coors Field, which opened in 93, is the fourth oldest ballpark, by the way, is Arizona's, the Chase Field, which I think they're in the process of replacing, which opened in 98. Just insane.
Yeah.
Crazy. I felt like I was crumbling into dust.
So we don't have a whole lot for next week. I'm going to give you outline my 4-point plan to make the WNBA profitable.
Ooh, cool.
Yes. I was going to say save the WNBA, but they're already saved every year.
Yeah, so make them profitable. That makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, make them profitable. And I honestly believe that if they do this, it'll work. And I'm going to give it for free because you'll never hire me as your commissioner, although you should.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But I don't meet a certain criteria because I'm male, straight, and actually not qualified based on my current resume, except that I can fix it. But other than that, which is too bad. You could quit your gig, move to the head office, and then all you have to do is just say, Kirk, don't say that.
I don't know if I want to be your fixer for the rest of my career.
Yeah, especially that if I have a fixer, then it'll make me feel like I can do even worse things.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
My God. And with that, wherever you are, wherever you may be, we say goodbye and stay safe.
Take care.